Hey y'all, so I come with the prophetic word from the Lord that He's leading me to speak at this time. This should serve as confirmation to who this is for, but always test the spirit by the spirit and take it back to God for confirmation to make sure that it is for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so I believe it was February 1st, but I shared about it on my TikTok when the Lord led me to James Avery, to buy a gift that He had approved for me to get. There was some things that taken place before I had actually went to go get that gift, but He was using that also for this word. So I'm gonna go ahead and share it and also give a revelation that He had given me from also another vessel that He has used to share her dream revelation about something, because it all tied together that He is now leading me to share it. Okay, so on January 31st, the Lord led me to go to James Avery to give my grandmother a gift. Again, her birthday had already passed, but I couldn't decide what I wanted to get her. So this day, the Lord led me to go to James Avery, and she didn't have a charm bracelet from James Avery or a charm. So I was like, okay, good. So I got her that gift, and while I was there, I happened to see something that I liked, and I inquired about it, and I asked them, about the chain, and then the initial that I wanted, which was a D. And then they said they didn't have any more of that letter. So I was like, okay. And then she said, oh, wait, we have one left. It was hiding behind the C. So I was like, okay, I knew that was a sign right there to get it, that one was for me, but I still, I still waited. I still wanted to be sure and ask the Lord. So I went ahead, after I bought my grandmother's gift, you have to come back the next day to pick it up so they can put the charm on the bracelet. So I went home and such, and then I asked the Lord about it concerning it, and I prayed some things, for Him to reveal to me if it was for me to get. And He did make it very clear. He was giving me signs, multiple signs, to get it. But yet, I still was contemplating on getting it. I kept on still wanting to be sure, because the necklace was pricey. Like, it was pricey. So I wanted to be sure that this was okay to get. So again, I'm going to the mall to pick up my grandmother's gift because it's ready. They told me it was going to be ready after 3. So I'm going there, but I also still trying to make sure that I hear Him before I go in there and make my choice whether I get it or not. So before I go in the actual store, I make it to the mall, but I'm sitting outside on a bench, and I'm just, still contemplating. It's like I was just waiting, I don't know. I was just waiting. And it's like I was still trying to ask the Lord, like, for another sign and such, just to be clear. But I knew He had already showed me it, but I still was, I guess, rejecting His answer and wanting Him to still answer the question when He already answered it. So again, I was just sitting on this bench outside. Just time was passing, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. And then finally I got up and I went inside to go get the gift. And then I did buy the necklace. I bought the necklace, the chain and the initial, and then I left. Okay. After that, I did cry, and such, because it was still, it was still like, wow, like I just bought that, and such, and knowing my situation and such, and knowing that God had approved it, it still was like, wow, I was in disbelief that I actually paid for that. But yeah, and I was happy though, when I did, I was speaking to Him and such. Okay, later on, probably the next day, I see one of God's other prophetic vessels give a dream revelation about a dream that she had like some time ago. Again, she already had shared this dream before, but this was God, I guess, leading her to share it again, and she had a new revelation for this dream. Her name is Summer. I don't know if y'all may have heard her or not, but I will tag her as well. But yes, she did mention how she had a dream, and in this dream that she was at the park, and her future spouse was there as well. Her God ordained spouse was there, but she saw him on a bench sitting, and she said it was as if he was pondering about something and such. And then she said she was in the street and she happened to see another, man, and this man was perfect and such, and she knew that this man was God. Because, there's no perfect man as in human, but God. So yeah, she knew that this was God. And then she told a revelation of the dream. But that stood out to me. I knew God was speaking to me with this dream, because He was telling me how me and my ordained spouse was reflecting each other at this time.
Past week, He gave me a whole new perspective on this dream. And so in this dream, my spouse and I were in a park. I was standing up in the middle of the park, and he was off in the distance in front of me sitting on a bench. A park can represent a place of rest and renewal. he was sitting on a bench in the park, which can represent, he almost looked like he was pondering, right? His head was down, and it almost seemed like he was just kind of in his own kind of bubble. It almost seemed like a reflection, but I think more so in this dream, it's just referencing like decision making.
So as I was on the bench, just waiting, sitting there, waiting, pondering, because that's what I was doing. Although God had already gave me the answer, I still was pondering on this bench as if I was unsure. And in that dream that she had, she mentioned how her ordained spouse was on that bench. She said it seemed as if they were pondering on that bench at the park, that she could see them from away. So God had revealed to me that my ordained spouse was pondering just as I was pondering, except I was pondering over a gift, but they were pondering over making a move of hearing God, if they had heard God correctly. And again, just as I knew I had heard God telling me yes to go get that gift, I still was rejecting it and still trying to make sure, still asking over and over, still trying to wait for another sign as I was sitting on that bench when he had already gave me that answer. He had already answered me numerous times. So God is saying, for who this word is for, your ordained partners that God has told you, y'all are reflecting each other. So if you're thinking about your personal life real heavy, they're thinking about you as well. And God is saying, with this, many of them are hesitant right now. They are still trying to be sure if they heard God correctly. Although that they are still asking the Lord. They still rejecting it and trying to see if they truly heard God's answer. And so God is saying that y'all need to pray for them as well. Pray for them to grow in understanding, grow in wisdom and knowledge and such. Pray these things for them and be confident. God is saying pray for their confidence. Pray for their obedience and such to the Holy Spirit, because they are hearing God, but they're just still, rejecting it because they're out of fear. So God is saying, pray against fear, pray against, low self-esteem, low confidence, pray against these things because they want to come forward. They want to come towards you, but they are not sure, and they're hearing from God, but they're still doubting. So pray against doubt, stand in the gap and intercede for these things. But these ordained spouses, they are sitting and still contemplating on if they heard God right to make a move. And again, they have heard God, but they just are rejecting it out of fear, out of doubt. So pray these things, stand in the gap and pray for your person, regarding fear, regarding doubt and double-mindedness and such, because they are hearing God. They are truly hearing God. They're just stuck. So pray against that spirit of stagnation as well, because again, they have gotten the yes. They're just still doubting themselves. They're still just trying to, be sure when God has already spoken to them and told them it is okay for them to come forward. God has already spoken to them, telling them that you are their person, and has revealed, numerous times, that you are and that they are to do this, but yet they are still, doubting. They're still moving in fear. So pray against these spirits, y'all. Intercede for your partners, because y'all are reflecting each other. You may be thinking about them a lot, and they are thinking about you a lot as well. And again, just as I was on that bench doubting if I heard God, when I knew I heard God, but I still was trying to look for another sign, to get the go. But again, I still got up and did it. I still bought the necklace. I didn't leave the store without buying it. So again, God is saying that person is still going to come forth, no matter how they seem stuck right now or not sure. They're still going to come forward. They have to, again, because this is a part of God's will. So just pray and intercede on their behalf, y'all, because your partners are, still doubting that they're hearing from God. They're still doubting that they received the answer from God to go forward towards you. So pray for these people. And the Lord led me to Romans chapter 1, verses 8 through 12. And it says, "First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for you all, that your faith is spoken of throughout the whole world. For God is my witness, whom I serve with my spirit in the gospel of his Son, that without ceasing I make mention of you always in my prayers, making request if by any means now at length I might have a prosperous journey by the will of God to come unto you. For I long to see you, that I may impart unto you some spiritual gift, to the end you may be established. That is, that I may be comforted together with you by the mutual faith, both of you and me." Just as I felt unworthy of receiving that expensive gift, that is how they feel towards you, of feeling unworthy of receiving you. So y'all pray for them. They're just lacking courage. So yes, y'all, this person wants to come forward. They're just doubting themselves and they're a little afraid. So pray against these things. Pray and stand in a gap for your person, y'all. God bless.